everyone. Thanks for stopping in. We're gonna. I'm Joe. This is Matt. Man, we hang out and play at Gamers Portal here in Wellsville, New York. We're gonna talk about Liliana being on Dominaria, the lore a little bit of what we learned, and some reasonings as to why we think she might be Liliana might be on Dominaria. Local news, some changes that we made to our commander leagues, and our last commander league winner for a Thursday night. We did a budget league. We got our deck list of that winner. We're going to go over a finance game that me and Matt are going to be playing, see who has the better specs on cards. Be a monthly thing, and Commander League next month in October. What do we plan on running? So you guys can get prepared and stop in and play some Commander with us. So Matt, Liliana on Dominaria. What did you learn?
Well, I learned that she was on Strixhaven and she was haunted by nightmares from basically kind of like an old acquaintance. And in this set, he's known as the Raven Man, but in the past, older players, people playing back then, they would know him as Limdul. And Limdul was reaching out to her through her dreams. And so Liliana planeswalks to Dominaria, because that's where Limdul's from, and she's trying to figure out why he's reaching out to her. And this is something that's been a part of her story for a long time.
Yeah, and I was surprised, actually. I did not know this, that Liliana was from Dominaria. The first set I remember coming out was in Innistrad. I just assumed that that's where she was from, and on this here, I'm hearing that she is from Dominaria, and I couldn't believe it, so I had to look it up. And of course, she is from Dominaria, and that's where her brother that she tried to save, and she ends up turning him into a zombie is from.
Yeah, they're really building the lore out. She definitely seems like somebody from Innistrad. She fits in with that plane.
Oh yeah. So what do you think the reasoning is that she is on Dominaria? You said that she was burying the ring, and so that she was losing the connection to Limdul. I say Limdul. I don't know if it's Limdul or Limdal. I say Limdul.
Sounds better. Yeah.
So if we're incorrect, I'm sorry, but I like Limdul. But so that he could have less of a connection with her. Do you have any idea what that might be about? I'm speculative as to what the purpose of driving the ring down farther. Can you just go dig it up?
that I'm really not sure about. So I describe this as like a Palpatine type thing where, spoilers, but he wants to possess Liliana and use her to become like the ultimate necromancer. He's the OG, original necromancer from Dominaria, and him and Liliana combined, they'd be unstoppable.
And Limdul's dead, right? So this is a spirit or something, right?
Yeah, he lives on through. It's kind of weird, but he lives on through a ring, which is buried in the the Vest estate out in the graveyard. And for whatever reason, she felt that pushing it further into the ground using magic would somehow cut the connection, or maybe silence it for a little while. She does end up fighting a few Phyrexians while she's there, but she pretty much leaves as soon as she cuts the connection with the ring.
So she was on Dominaria for an hour,
Oh, like 20 minutes.
So that makes me think, what was the purpose of it in the storyline? Is it actually a storyline, or is this Wizards pushing, an OG card saying, "Oh look, Liliana, an $80 card in standard, come buy standard." I think that's more in line to what it is. I don't know 100%, but they do have to sell boxes. They do have to sell packs. And she would sell packs. The story seems weak to me. I mean,
it is it's like a little side mission. If you were playing this was an RPG, this is like a side thing. You could totally have missed it if you weren't doing everything.
It would have been the side mission, like, oh, I didn't get that achievement.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah.
So, so beyond that, I mean, I've played a little bit of Arena standard, and I've played into Liliana a little bit. I've played her a little bit. What's your take on how Liliana is going to affect standard and or Arena?
Well, it's pretty busted, honestly. Um, if you play ranked at all, eventually you're gonna run into mono black, and that deck is really strong. It's hard to shut it down. Um, there is an Esper deck that's trying to break into the top of the meta, and I've tried it, or at least a variation of it, but counter magic only goes so far, and it just she's hard to stop. And even if you stop that, there's just so many other bombs in that deck now with Shieldred. It's just yeah.
Yeah, I did face a deck. I was playing the Liliana, and I faced a deck that had Shieldred in it, um, and it was brutal with him because I had no way to remove him, and um, I ended up losing. Like I'm drawing a blank on what other card they were running in that scheme, but I think it was a 5 color deck. It was I don't know how they were pulling it off, but somehow
Yeah,
you know.
isn't it funny? They always get all five colors too. They don't struggle. They're not behind at all. Like, and then you're sitting there with like three lands and no way to stop it in
Well,
one or two colors.
and I don't know if anyone else, but the arena deck with the Liliana, I'm running thin on lands anyway because most expensive thing I'm casting is the invoke of 5 colored or 5 cost and cost black sack creatures and discard and enchantments.
Yeah, that thing is brutal. That's the other thing.
So,
Yep.
so take on Liliana and arena and standard busted. It's gonna be a long standard season.
Until they ban something.
Yeah.
One of the many black bombs that are in the deck, whether it be Meat Hook, it won't be Shieldred, it probably won't be Liliana. I've heard maybe Meat Hook.
Yeah, me hooks. I mean, it's good. I mean, and almost every time you cast it, you're getting 1 for 2 or 1 for 3.
Oh yeah, the stack goes, way it goes way high.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I see if they do ban something, it would probably be meat hook. I mean, that's my opinion. Just a short opinion on it.
Even that, I don't know how much that's going to slow that deck down. I suppose there really isn't any other go-to black board wipe. There is the 5 drop that we were talking about, but it only gets rid of 3 permanents max. It's
Yeah.
good card advantage if it doesn't get rid of something, but
Well, and I didn't realize this until somebody didn't do it or you chose not to. They don't have to sack. They can choose to lose 2 life. I think instead of sacking, right?
oh, that's braids.
That's braids.
Yeah,
I thought the invoke was that way too. Maybe I'm wrong. I
the
didn't look
invoke
at the.
is it's a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker. And if they can't do it, you get pinged for 2, and they draw a card.
Okay,
Yeah,
it must be braids. I'm thinking of. But
yeah.
they get to choose.
Yeah, but when you're sitting there behind Shieldred and then you're drawing cards, you're going up life, you're pinging them or taking their permanents from them. It's a really strong deck.
I think that must have been the one I faced with children and had braids in it, but it had the other 4 colors for whatever reasons. I don't remember what the other reasons were.
And
But
then removal. Removal's been strong for feels like the past couple of years now. At least since like Innistrad with the 2 drop removal spells.
yeah.
It's yeah. And now with Cutaway.
Oh yeah, which I think is what 5 toughness or
It has
less.
to total power and toughness 5 or less. And
Yeah.
that's just like all you run that as a 4 of and then every early play. Just don't count on it sticking around.
Yeah. All right, so standard. Our opinion is it's going to be a rough season. At least mine. I don't know your opinion.
It's we're gonna see Liliana in every deck that's top of the meta. If it's Esper, Mono Black, it doesn't really matter. Liliana's gonna be there. Soren's been really good too.
Oh yeah, he works well with her.
Yeah.
Draws cards and drops that 2/3 life linker, which I've had to use a couple times to gain a little bit of life.
Yeah, we went from green having all the bomb mythics to all of a sudden black. That's where it's at with all the bomb mythics, especially with this set. If you pull Shieldred or Liliana, you're pretty happy.
Yeah, especially Shield. That card is. I think under Liliana is busted, but pretty darn close.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into local news. Some of the changes that we made at the store, just to kind of preemptively um,
In preparation for Phyrexia.
Phyrexia.
Returning to Phyrexia in 2023.
and just to get people ready for it, because I think Infect's going to be pretty prevalent in this set, and you know the whole Infect of 10 damage to win a game. for our leagues and our games, we like to play. We don't want, for the most part, we don't like to see turn 4 wins, turn 3 wins. We sit down, we got an hour, we want to play for an hour. And with the infection that's probably going to be coming out, we're going to try to mitigate the aspect of people winning with infect.
Yeah.
Still make it possible, but with Commander you double your life, and it's always been a prevalent idea that infect should be doubled too, from 10 to 20. So that's what we're going to push at the store. Um, your thoughts, Matt? On that?
It makes sense. I think if infect gets pushed the way it did back in, I don't know, 2010, 2011, when New Phyrexia, the Scars of Mirrodin block came out, if it gets pushed as hard as it was back then, there's a good chance that the CAG and R&D and D and all those people that sort of weigh in on the rulings, they may finally decide to push it up to 20, and they have talked about it in the past. It's definitely been one of those things.
So, so I think we're being a little preemptive, maybe, just for the enjoyment factor of our local group. We like to play. We don't like to
Oh yeah,
sit down, shuffle, and pick up.
oh yeah, yeah. You want to buy into a league and then get Canyon striked for 10 damage in one shot?
Yeah, I've died enough for tramp of the hordes, which is fine. It's usually turn 7, turn 8, turn 9.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of the later ones, but I think 20 will help out, on the infect.
It is interesting that none of the Praetors so far have had infect as a keyword ability on them.
Yeah, so
They,
maybe they realize it's busted and they're not going to push it,
but then a Johnny,
Yeah.
a Selesnya Planeswalker,
that has it.
yeah, it's like, did they learn?
No.
No.
And then another change that we did, we used to give, because we kept score, for our commander league, so we could determine a winner at the end. A lot of people don't like to keep score for commander league because it makes it too competitive, but we try to implement stuff to kind of, make it more of a casual thing and still keep points so people feel like if they win or have a chance to be the champion for that month. Um, we're we're taking away the bonus. We used to give a bonus point if you knock somebody out with a commander. So if you got to do 21 points of damage, you got an extra bonus point at the end of the night for each one of those commander knocks out you got. It was nice, it was exciting, but we ran into a problem, and that problem was, Matt.
The problem was Davin.
I wouldn't say it was mostly Davin, but he was an instigator of it, and
The problem was Baldur's Gate came out and really supported Unblockable as a theme. And I say Davin jokingly, but
it was definitely a theme, and that was unblockable, and um, so everyone was running Voltron, just running their big commander, beef him up, pump him up, and get their extra bonus point. Um, and it was fun, there were some good decks that were made, and I'm sure these people are still going to play these decks, which is fine.
it's still an effective way to close a game.
Right.
And that's what I was telling Davin.
Yeah, I mean, it's a still good deck. It's still going to win, and it still may win some commander leagues, but we don't want to reward more Voltron. Just make them a hexproof, make them unblockable, make them unable to deal with them.
Yeah, it's not even just Baldur's Gate. Like I think of Baldur's Gate because of Sword Coast Sailor, but the reality is like we've got some unblockable cards from New Capenna. Kamigawa had a few to get the ninjas out, just different things like that.
It's and we'll show you Davin's deck here in a minute.
It's strong.
Yeah, he won the. We did a budget league this last month, and he built a real good deck. We had a lot of good decks. It's just his was
It's very hard to stop.
right. Once he got his commander out, it was unblockable, and he would just kill people. He would do 20, 30 damage. Sometimes I think he did up to 60 damage with his commander in one turn.
I wouldn't doubt it. And I always knew when he was coming at me too. I always knew it.
So the deck that we're talking about for the Davin one, what was that? Last month.
That was August, yeah.
August
Budget league for August.
budget league. It was. I'm going to my page. Give me a second, guys.
Yeah, we had a $50 budget league. Had to have all the cards. Basically, the whole deck had to be in on MTG Goldfish prior to the event. The night before, everything had to be under $50. So we had everybody submit the decks. That's how we knew that everybody was playing fair, and we had a good time.
Yeah, so Davin was playing Karlash. Fury of Everos, I think it's Avernus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he played along with a Sword Coast Sailor, which made his commander unblockable. So if you don't know what Karlash does, whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of this turn, untap attacking creatures, they gain first strike until end of turn. After this turn, there's an additional combat phase. So he was getting in at least 10 commander damage
Spread
to
across, yeah, two players
the person with the highest life.
at least, yeah.
If sometimes you'd have to split it, 5 here and 5 to another person because he knocked somebody at the lower life. But he was getting a lot of commander combat damage in. If you look at his deck is out there. If you look under Gadriel, you'll find his deck. That's the name that he uses for MTG Goldfish, where we had everyone list the cards that they were going to put in the commander budget. I see he's still under $50 at $49.05, and this is um, the 27th of September. So
It's hard to get it much closer than that.
yeah, and I look at some of the other decks that people are running. A lot of the other ones have gone over. So his is still standing the test of time. But one of the surprising things Matt found though is the number of creatures he ran.
Yeah, yeah. Can we talk about how this madman was only running 3 creatures?
Plus the commander. So he was running 4, but 3 outside of the commander.
I said it couldn't be done. I was wrong.
He was running the agitator ant, which he was getting people to attack each other so that their lives were fluctuating. Which, you know, Matt had a point on that you would watch other people's life and think to yourself, Matt said that
Yeah, yeah. If you just stay below so and so, you're sitting next to
you might be
somebody.
safe. You might
Yeah,
be safe.
but just stay below this person. But then he swings at that person, gets his additional combat, and then more than likely he was coming to me after that. I thought I was safe.
But like you said before, sometimes you'd even look and lay your shock land, and like, I don't need it, but I'm gonna put it in play untapped, so I take 2 damage and drop myself, under the guy sitting to my right. It was a different strategy, to play and try to mitigate around. I thought it was,
It did make the. There was a lot more thought behind like your life total than usual. Usually it's like as long as I'm not at like 10, I'm good.
But they ran the ant to kind of get people to swing at each other. He ran the bothersome, what was it? Just another guy with menace and goads creatures your opponent's control can't block. So you can goad other people's creatures,
Oh man, that last part.
and then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, goad target creature and opponent controls. So it was very chaotic. It fits in with the red, scheme. It was very chaotic. His last creature he was playing was the Cultist of Tiamat. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature gets plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is the spell's mana value. So he was just bumping up his commander to swing for more damage, and then he would, drop in the 2-handed axe, give it double strike, or then at the second combat phase, he would, well, you wouldn't be able to do that. I don't think there was a main phase, and they just went right back into the combat. So I don't remember him being able to flip it right
No,
the next
yeah,
stand.
it was like he had used the one effect and then the other. But even if he just straight equipped it, whenever he equipped, whenever he equipped a creature attacks double its power until end of turn, that got out of control.
Right.
With 2 combats, it's going to double twice. So
Right.
this resulted in people getting one-shotted pretty
Quite
often.
often. Yeah, quite often.
Yeah, and to be fair, like I didn't know he even had creatures in there. Like
Besides the Colic.
yeah, I said, Davin, you got to be running some creatures in there. He's like, do I, Matt? And I actually thought that there were no creatures in there. I'm actually surprised that he had a grand total of 4. That's. I don't think I ever saw the creatures. I still died, but I only saw Karloff.
Yeah, and that was enough.
It was enough.
Yeah. And he played a little bit of protection here, there, some counter spells, some dive down, to protect his creatures, some weighted artifacts and stuff to get life gain from his swinging guy. And I always feared when I saw the Black Blade hit the battlefield.
Blade. It's so good.
So kudos to Davin. He won our first budget league, $50 or under. We're going to be doing another one in November. So,
No, that's October. Yeah, we're doing it next month, remember?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
my months are messed up. You're right.
Yeah,
October.
time flies. We're already talking about November, trying to figure that out, so
Yep. So
it's kind
next
of
month.
scary.
Yep. So start next month. We're gonna do another budget leak. Don't worry about seeing Carlick. This deck build here. Told Devin he can't run this one. He has to build a new one.
We're gonna see if we can replicate the magic.
Replicate the
Yep,
magic.
yep.
Yes.
Change
So
up the strategy. We'll see if we can be just as effective this time. I want to see him run like a creature heavy deck with no creatures.
all spells.
All spells.
Or there's no commander that's a spell. There's I can think of off the top of my head.
Cody. If he played Cody, you could not
Oh.
have any permanents. I'm gonna dare him to build a Cody deck. That's what's up.
Yeah. So David, your challenge, Cody deck.
I'll probably still get kicked by it.
All right. So that's what we have going on. News on the commander, a little bit of who won the last league. We have a little game that me and Matt are going to be playing every month. It's like we can pick the best specs, on cards and stuff like that. Rules that we got going, we can spend up 25 bucks on purchasing cards. We have to at least pick one common, one uncommon, and one rare or mythic. Big multiples. Say if you want to finish up your $25 and you find a 10-cent card and you want to fill up you buy 20 of them if you want. But you gotta at least have one common, and one mythic and or rare in each of our picks. We'll be picking at the first of the month. Uh, we're gonna check at the end of the month. So we already picked for this month. We got our, who we picked, and we'll reveal that here in a little bit. We determine who wins by the biggest percentage increase. So if you spend your whole 25, or you spend less, you might, if you only go up $1, but you only spend $3 on your picks, then
You're doing pretty good.
yeah, your percentage you're gonna have a higher percentage, and you'll win for that month. Loser, which we'll find out who soon is the loser this month, has to buy the other player a pack. We will open it the next month and show all the goodies that he had to um, give the other person because they didn't pick good enough. uh,
Based on how I think the specs went, I'm not going to make a joke about the collector pack thing. We'll wait till things go a little differently, and then I'll be like, "It's a collector pack, right? It's a collector pack, right?"
Yeah, no, it's the loser's choice. So if they feel like they got obliterated, maybe a collector pack. Double masters collector packs would be warranted.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I leave it up to the loser, to choose, what they think is fitting for the whooping that they took.
I think Joe wants a collector pack of double masters.
Yeah. So we'll go into that. We'll kind of show you what we picked, and then we'll show what our results were for last month. So we'll go back to the web here. Excuse me for a second. So we'll look at Matt's pick first. So Matt went with Imperial Recruiter, an offer you can't refuse, but he chose the.
It's one out of like the game store, like the promo packs you get for playing in events.
The foil one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all blue.
So,
seen Davin running this one actually.
Yep,
This variant.
Yeah, it was in his.
It was, yeah. He had this one
color.
foil. It's a decent card.
So I think decanter. You went the foil route on the decanters too. The what do they call it? Showcase artwork on those, which I like. I mean, I really don't care for the fish aspect of it. It's not my greatest artwork, but the foil on this is real cool. The silver kind of pops off
yeah.
it.
I don't mind the D&D showcase artworks.
No, for the most part, I'm just not a real big fan of this fish thing. But
I could go either way on it as well. I was just trying to make good picks, and I may or may not have done a good job.
Yeah, the card I love. The playability of the card is awesome.
For a 3-mana rock, yeah.
Yeah, any color. And then his final pick that he chose was Bonder's Enclave. Draw a card, activate this ability.
Only if you control a creature power 4 or greater. It costs 3 to activate that ability. Otherwise, it just taps for a colorless, but it doesn't come in tapped. That's Pretty
Solid card.
solid, yeah.
Yep,
And
solid card.
any creature, any green deck really, anything where you're going to be power four or greater. This,
Yeah,
yeah.
I see it going into a lot of green decks. You know,
Okay.
even if they are swarm, they're still putting counters on. They're still, you know, buffing them up. So it's a solid card. And it's a activated ability. So if you had a pump spell or something like that, you could giant growthy creature draw a card.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's situational. You don't even have to sack the land to do it, which is kind of nice. Sometimes you have to sack to draw a card. This one, you can keep doing it. I'm running one in Karametra, and I'd like to start using it more.
Yeah, very much agree. You got so many lands, just nothing to do with them, so might as well dump it into that.
Yeah, mana sinks are always good there. That's why Shalai's in there.
All right, so that was were Matt's picks. My picks that I chose double major, um, instant sorcery or instant spell to copy any creature on the battlefield. Um, Great card. It just reminds me of Spark Double, but it doesn't have to be your guy. You can copy one of your opponents. It's not something you can bounce and change targets you know, each end step or if you're using Conjurer's Clause or anything like that. It's a one-off, but unless you could get it under your what is it, the scepter there. You can do it every turn. But, solid card, I liked it a lot.
Oh, Ice Crown Scepter, that would be messed up.
Yeah. Went with the stables with poop boats. They, they they reprint them, you buy them. So that was my thoughts on that. I also went with the decanter, but I didn't go with the foil edition. I just went with the basic one. When we were making these picks, these were under I think around 30 cents is what these were going for, and the regular version was going for almost $2. So seemed like a no-brainer for me to select those.
We just, yeah, that was kind of like mind reading. We didn't really go over the picks before we did this. Kind of
Oh
just
yeah,
were
we both
like,
picked the
yeah,
decanter.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We both kind of we kept it secret until we were ready.
yeah. Well, a good card is a good
Good
card.
card's a good card.
My final one is a little spec on the Mishra Urza War. Uh, I think it's going to be heavy artifact based, so I think Spire of Industry is going to be something that people want to put in that deck. Um, and we pay one life, add any one color, any mana, only activates if you have an artifact. There's going to be a lot of artifacts on the field, and a lot of people are building decks around artifacts. So.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. And honestly, I'd play this anything three colors or more. And Wizards likes to print multicolored legendaries.
Yep. So let's get into the results.
Oh boy.
Matt seems a little nervous, but he might not have to be. So my starting total after the purchases, because I bought the decanters at 30 cents. I bought the double major at $1.50. The Swifts at 116, and the Spires at 144. And this was done by the average price. At the time, the first of the month. So it wasn't like I found them. I actually found them for. I think I found some decanters for like 10 cents or something like that that I bought for somebody. But we went with the average price. So my total was 24.88 for the month. Matt was sitting at 23.44, so he went a little bit less, but he was having some higher valued commons and uncommons that he couldn't squeeze in another one, I think. So
Also, I'm kind of surprised. It almost looks like the Imperial Recruiter lost value.
what did you get it for? We got it for 679. What did we have it at?
It went up by 20 cents.
So it's 695. So it did. It
It
did.
went up by 20 cents. And so that one's gonna be more of a slow burn. It seems like the MH2 cards are taking a long time to rebound.
But I see there are most, as a set, it's going up. You know.
Oh,
So
another year from now.
oh yeah, because they just now, pretty much my distributor is a little. I can still get some set boosters, can't get draft. So it's winding down. They're not gonna sell it for much longer, and if they do, it'll be at an increased price. So we'll go max total for at the end of the month, which is the 27th. He's at 2207. So his value did go down a little bit over $1.
Wow.
I think that was mainly made by an offer you can't refuse. We had him at 8.99. TCG has it, or not TCG, but Card Game has it going at 7.99 now.
That means like nothing else changed though, which is
So
crazy.
yeah, everything else was pretty,
Stayed
stable.
steady. Wow.
My picks, I went up to 3102 off my picks. And I think the big driver on that was the decanter. I picked them up for 30. They're going for 99 cents now for this version of the decanter, the showcase one. I did, double major went up 20, 30 cents. First boots went up 10 cents maybe a piece. Aspire, maybe 6, 7 cents. So my big driver was the lucky find of finding decanters at 30 cents when the non-showcase was going for almost $2. So I'll take the win either way. I'm not upset about taking the win.
Yep.
The next month we'll be doing picks here. It's the first of the month. We'll do another video on that showing what we're gonna pick for sure. But I figured I'd give a little hint. I'm leaning towards red, maybe a little blue, and the set I'm kind of looking into is Modern Horizons 2, is where I think I'm gonna make some, if not all my selections, most of my selections. Matt,
I know there may be a red card from Strixhaven that I'm looking at, and possibly other cards from Strixhaven as well.
so you're kind of concentrating in Strixhaven, I'm concentrated in Modern Horizons 2. We'll see next month whose intuition was correct. Hopefully mine.
I'll be back with a vengeance this time.
And we'll reset it. We'll do it month to month, and then we'll probably do something that and after a year we'll say who was at the highest, and maybe that'll be the collector pack that comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's what we had. Commander League next month, like we said, is going to be uh, the budget league on Thursdays. We do that every Thursday. Well, not every Thursday. We're not doing the Commander League. We have pods, but it'll be Thursday in the month of October. Three weeks out of that month.
Yeah, we're running for 3 weeks.
$50 budget league. Saturday is going to be the Fun League. We won't say what the acronym stands for, but well, you have to have, what is it? You come up with this one, man. What is it? You got to have.
Yeah, it's got to have black or green in the color identity. Cannot be monocolor. It can be any combination of black or green. So it could be Selesnya, could be Golgari, could be Abzan, any of that stuff.
I think the other key thing is it had to be in the casting house. No activation
Yes.
abilities.
So 5 color would be all right.
So that's what we got. Check out our video again in a couple days when we do our picks for next month for our finance challenge. Thanks for watching, Matt.
It's probably worth noting as a last minute thing that all the cards that we talk about for the specs will be available at the shop. So if you see any value in that, or you're looking for a Bonder's Enclave, we got you.
And if you want to have good picks, just come to my side and pick up my cards that I select.
My stuff's just underrated. People haven't appreciated yet. Nobody knows that Bonder's Enclave exists.
I didn't know until you picked it. I was like, that's pretty good.
I'm here with the underrated picks. I'll take the loss.
Yeah.
Until next month.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.